Can you share with us your highest moment that filled you with the most pride and joy? And then, what about your most humiliating and humbling experience?
Oh, you're killing me. Bring back the trauma. The highs.
Hi, Nir. Welcome.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for saying yes.
Anytime.
You're at my mercy, Nir. I can do what I want with you.
Bring it on. Oh.
You sure? Can you handle it?
We'll find out. Otherwise, I call the reinforcements, Charlie and Oleg. They'll come back.
Yes. 3 against 1. All right. I'm so excited to have you on the Break Time with Patty show. Dear friend, let me introduce Nir to you. Who is Nir Guzinski? He is an actor. He has made appearances on NBC's hit hospital drama Transplant, Nickelodeon's Snow Day, Misanthrope. Am I saying this properly? Misanthrope.
Oh. Misanthrope, yeah.
Bravo's 19.2, and the CBC's This Life, along with numerous independent productions. Over the past 14 years, Nir has also been a part of numerous plays with brave new productions, from one of his most challenging roles, Aaron McKinney, in the Laramie Project 10 years later, to Yasmina Reza's Art, to the Meta-nominated and ensemble cast of 33 Variations by Moses Kaufman. Number 2, he is also a producer. He's helped direct and produce several of BNP's productions, Mistakes Were Made, Sylvia, and the upcoming Vanya and Sonia and Masha and Spike, as well as an 8-episode web series called This Is Gus, which he self-produced, wrote, edited, and acted in. Number 3, he's also a comedian. Nir also founded Nearly Funny, an online sketch comedy show that can be viewed on most social media platforms with a mission to make people laugh and provide Montreal actors with a creative space, community to perform and tell some fun stories. With over 500 sketches, I'm going to repeat that, 500 sketches and 200,000 followers across all platforms, there is nearly enough funny to go around. Finally, when he is not working, Nir can be found boxing, attending workshops to learn new techniques to develop and hone his craft, or raising funds for the Montreal Children's Hospital Foundation. Woo! Lord. I have talked enough.
Thank you.
Oh, you all read, Nir. Did I make you?
Well, it's always nice to hear, accomplishments that we've done, because I don't take the time to sometimes, pat myself on the back. I'm as a kind of perfectionist, you're always like, oh, I'm not doing enough. That's nothing. I could do better. So it's nice to hear and to be reminded of all the stuff that I've done over the past tons of years.
Yes, a few decades actually. Well, yeah.
Hey. Giving away the age.
All right. Okay, so let's get started.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about Nir as a young boy and a teenager? What was it like to be in his sneakers growing up?
It was a weird time. I was a very shy kid. I grew up very shy. I was very small also as a kid. When I was up until grade 5, I was between 4'8" to 5'2". So I was very small. I was one of the smallest in the classes, very shy. I didn't really know where I belonged or fit in. So I was also a very big people pleaser because I moved around a lot. I moved from Montreal to Winnipeg, back to Montreal, different schools. And so high school and elementary school were very, very tough. But eventually, as I got older and I started, gaining a little bit more of my confidence and my personality, and I kind of started to fit in and find my place. One of the first places that had happened was interestingly enough, through high school, I think it was in secondaire, I'm going to say it in English or French, Sec 1 or Sec 2 English class. I was in French high school. And in English class, we had an English class, and one of our teachers was making each one of us read a part of a story to the class. So I think we were, man, I can't remember the actual name of the book or the story, but he asked who wanted to read for a specific part, and I kind of volunteered. And I not only read the part, I also acted it out, and that drew a lot of laughs. And I was like, oh, this works. This is, people are liking this, and I'm feel really good about this, and this is exciting. And then the following year, I took theater class in high school, and we did a play, which was, I think, Les Belles Sœurs, if I'm not mistaken. And I actually played an old lady, and I had an awesome time. Yeah, and it was awesome, and I loved it. And so from there, it brought me back to loving acting, because I started when I was about 12 or 13. My parents put me into an acting agency. And they were like, oh, you make all these voices all the time, and you're always entertaining us in family gatherings. You should act. So they put me into an acting agency, had some auditions, nothing really happened. And then I got shy in elementary school and high school, lost my confidence, very self-conscious. So I kind of like pulled back. And then these little moments brought that fire back until I was about 18, when I watched 10 Things I Hate About You with Julia Stiles. And I fell in love with Julia Stiles and just the thought of being in such a cool production and a story. And so I reached out to agents again, and they were like, well, you have no experience, so we can't take you on. So get some acting experience. So I went to do workshops. I signed up for theater productions and independent short films and all that. And it kind of got the ball rolling. And then I got an agent, and then the rest is history. As we develop, we'll continue the conversation, because that's my childhood. That was the childhood.
That's insane. So did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have one older brother.
Okay.
Who lives in New York.
Oh.
He is not an artist.
Is he funny?
He's funny in his own way. He's got a different sense of humor. So he's got a dry sense of humor, but he's extremely smart, more of the intellect than me. I was a sporty, quirky kid, but he is a software engineer in New York, and he also was and maybe will be a writer, because he always liked writing, like stories and books and all that stuff. So maybe one day he'll become a writer, but right now he is a software engineer with a beautiful family.
Oh,
yeah.
So you're an uncle?
I am. I'm an uncle to three little rascals, two twin nieces, and one recently born nephew who's 7 months old.
Exciting. Okay. You're well surrounded.
Yeah, makes me realize, hey, I'm still single and alone. Need a family soon.
No, you don't. You're free like the wind. You're free to edit.
Well, that's true. It does take a lot of time. Agreed.
Yeah. You got a baby. You have all your characters.
Yeah, my my crazy world of imaginary friends.
Yes, it's a lot of fun.
They keep me company.
Yes. Everything in due time. I'm a single too, and I'm a firm believer that when it's supposed to happen, it will materialize. We're all over the social media platforms, Nir. It's bound to happen.
That's what my mom says. My mom always says everything happens for a reason. And just recently, I don't know if you saw, but I posted a video about me getting laid off from work, which happened. And she was like, same thing, everything happens for a reason. And I've had some crazy dating stories and crazy relationship stories. And so everything happens for a reason is what she says. And I'm starting to believe it, because when I was younger, I was like, why? Why would it happen? Why would what's the reason for me getting hurt and being depressed and sad and hurt and like lose my, like the love of my life at the time? It's like, then you realize that, one thing leads you to another. And then from there, things can happen. And hopefully it brings you to where you have to, or will want to be and could be.
Yes. I'm a firm believer of that as well. Viva la mama.
Viva mama.
So, okay. So like anything else, there are highs and lows to an acting career. Because at this point, now you found your confidence and you started doing all kinds of acting gigs, right? Can you share with us your highest moment that filled you with the most pride and joy? And then, what about your most humiliating and humbling experience?
Oh, you're killing me. Bring back the trauma. The highs, honestly, it's interesting. One of my biggest highs in acting so far was the first time I booked a role, because it was like, oh my God, I booked a role and auditioned, and it was at the time it was 19.2. So 19.2 was the first union role I got, and I went into audition, and it was such a long process too, because it was a small part. I went in terrified, nervous. Auditions are always a little bit nerve-wracking for me, but I went in there and I did a really good audition, and I was told that I was looked at by the director, and he really liked it, and he moved it to production, and production really liked it, and then the production sent it to the network, and the network said, great, we like him. But then the hair and makeup guy was like, no, his hair's too short for because I auditioned for a guy that gets shot in the face. And basically there's like a prosthetic that was supposed to be put on the back of my head, like an explosion from a gunshot wound. And my hair was too short. So the hair and makeup guy was like, we can't do that. We need somebody with longer hair. So they went to re-audition new people. And so I was told that they're going to audition new people and I don't have the part. So I was like super close, and then I lost it. And then they re-auditioned people, and the director was in that audition sequence or sessions. And at the end of the audition sessions with all these new people that he auditioned, he was like, I like that guy. I still want that guy. So he basically forced the hand of the makeup artist. The makeup artist then said, well, can he grow his hair in the next 2 weeks? I said, I can, and I did. And so I went in and did the part. It lasted 2 weeks. We did 2 scenes. It was an awesome experience. I love the cast. The crew was great. But funny story is that was such a high. It led to one of the funny lows about acting, which was when the show was supposed to air, the episode that I was in was supposed to air. I told everybody, my friends and family, to, hey, go watch. I'm going to be on TV for the first time on network TV. And they cut all my scenes. And so I was nowhere to be found. So it was like none of it happened. So that was kind of a really high and then a little low. But another really big high was this year when I co-produced with Michelle Furtado, another sketch comedy stand-up actress, stand-up comedian. We co-produced a live sketch comedy show to raise money for charity, and we sold out in like 2 weeks. And we raised over $7,000 for the Montreal Children's Hospital, and we got out of nowhere, unexpectedly, a standing ovation at the end of the show. And that was like the ultimate high. Like when you get in a live show, you get a standing ovation, that instant gratitude, and that it's a feeling you can't describe. I was tearing up. I think we both teared up. It was a beautiful moment. On the most awkward moment of my career so far, or one of those memorable awkward moments, was my first ever commercial audition for union. I was at the time, I was getting back into acting, and I was new to the audition scene, and I was non-union at the time. And so it was the first union commercial audition I got with my new agent, and it was for Fido. Fido was doing their first commercial with a human, because usually all their commercials were with animals. And so that was the first ever spokesperson with a human. So I went in, I was super nervous. I had like 4 lines, super nervous. I get into the room, and it's just one guy sitting behind the camera, the casting director. And he's like, okay, so I want you to look straight at the camera and just do your lines. And as an actor early on, when we prepare in workshops or do acting scenes, we're not looking at the audience. We're looking at each other. We're now breaking the 4th wall. So this was the first time I had to break the 4th wall and look directly at the camera in this little freaking hole. And so I start my audition, and I'm like, Fido, you need new phones. And then I went, line, which is in acting class, you call line when you forget your line, and the teacher or another actor says the lines, but the casting director just looked at me going, and I just froze. And so I looked at the camera and he's like, do you want to start over? I'm like, okay, let's start over. So I'm like, okay. He's like, look at your sides. I look at it. I'm like, okay, I got it. Who? Fido. For new phones and exciting line. I did this 6 times. At the 6th time, he tells me, you can take a look at your script directly. You can look at the paper while you do it. It's fine. I'm like, no, I got this. I did it one more time and I didn't get it. I also blanked. And then he just said, all right, thank you. Have a good day. Never finished the audition fully. And that was the worst moment of my entire acting auditioning career so far.
So sorry, I shouldn't be laughing, but
oh, you should. It was hilariously painful. It's so bad.
I can put myself in your shoes. So it's either crying or laughing at that point. Did you cry?
No, I was just really hard on myself. I was 25, 26 at that time. So I was not happy with myself. I was devastated. I was embarrassed. I felt like the most worthless actor out there. And I was just like, this is it. I'm done. She's never going to send me to another audition. I'm never going to get any other opportunities, and it's done. And it took a while to rebuild some of that confidence, but acting is so hard. Auditioning is so unnatural that it is. Some people are really great at it. Some people are, can find their way through it. I have a hard time with auditions just because I put a lot of pressure on myself. Also with that trauma of like freezing, I constantly, I'm like, oh, if I mess up, then I'm not going to have another chance. They're not going to bring me back. Oh, and there's only 1 or 2 casting agents, or maybe 3 in Montreal, and there's not tons of opportunities. So you're constantly hoping to not, get pushed aside or drop to the bottom of the list. So there's a lot of pressure, I think, sometimes. And if I've gotten better at it to kind of remove that pressure and realize that, you got to work hard, be prepared, and just trust that you have it in you.
Oh my God. Work hard, be prepared. I need to mention something really quickly because I just competed. I'm in Toastmasters, and we have a world championship of public speaking. I just joined the organization last year, and I had a competition last Thursday. And I wrote the speech the speech the week before. It's a 7-minute speech to try to become like world champion. Obviously, that's not like there's a process. I'm just doing this for growth, but because that's how you get better, right? I had a message about my sister that passed away, who passed away last year. So it was just a message on kindness. But the thing is, I got there. I was feeling pretty confident. And I knew my stuff. I knew the entire beginning. I always messed up towards the middle or the end. And for some reason, I just like blanked completely, like at the beginning, completely threw me off. I don't even know how I found it within myself to just remember what the heck I had to say next. So I went through it, but I finished 2nd place. And thank you. I may have or may not have made it 1st place. I'll never know. But that freezing thing is real. The nerves, man, they mess with you. They mess with your head.
One of the interesting things that I've learned and tried to, because it happens a lot, like even in meetings when I was giving presentations, the beginning for me in theater, in any live event, the beginning is the critical part, because your heart is racing, you feel like butterflies, you're sweating, you're hearing yourself, and then all of a sudden you're watching the reactions, and if people are like kind of looking or not laughing when you're supposed to make a joke or whatever it is, those first, like, I think it's like, it might last 10 seconds, but it feels like eternity. The beginning of your presentation, scene, audition, whatever it is the most nerve-wracking, and when I tend to freeze. What I tried to do, because I was doing a lot of that, is I would try to find some ideas on how to be better at it. And one of the things that I found is in, I think it was YouTube or even in a workshop and talking to other artists, was to mimic the environment. And what you can't necessarily mimic the pure environment of a live in front of an audience or anything, but what you can do is mimic your heart rate. So what I did and do now, even for bigger auditions, is I either run around my apartment reciting the lines, or do push-ups and jumping jacks and get my heart racing to a really high level, and then start the scene and the audition. So that way you're kind of like your body and your mind kind of, they get the habit of, you've done this before, your heart's racing, so you kind of like keep that momentum going without freezing. So it has helped. These kind of tricks help. Also doing things while I'm reciting the lines and doing the scene, if I'm doing the dishes or writing or on the computer, it just kind of to stop thinking too much about the lines and focusing on other stuff. So kind of to get that setup, I guess, or that feeling of your body and your mind in that same kind of environment. I thought it was a really good trick, but it is still very difficult, and it is something to master. And Toastmasters is a good word for it. It's a mastering that. It's a tough ability. It's a tough trick, isn't it? Like one of the things that people are the most afraid of. Like number
Yes.
1 or 2 is public speaking.
Oh no, it's number one. 77% of humans would or suffer from glossophobia, so the fear of public speaking, and they'll prefer to they'll prefer to die. They'll take dying over speaking in public. It's a huge
Crazy.
yes,
It's
it's a
insane.
real thing.
It is. It's such an interesting dynamic, but I get it. It is what's it called? It's very vulnerable. It's one of the most vulnerable things you can do. And I think to tie into like stand-up comedy, which I'm not a stand-up comedian. I did it once. I tried it. Michelle Furtado is an amazing stand-up comedian, and I have a friend in New York who also, Santiago Espinosa, who's an amazing stand-up comedian, who he's the one who pushed me to do stand-up once. I'm thankful for that opportunity, because it's a whole other world. And it's amazing to see these people not only be vulnerable in front of people, but be vulnerable in how, you have to make somebody laugh in a certain amount of time. It's not, I'm good at like conversation jokes. I'm good at writing, and then in a scenario, if I'm having a conversation, I could make a joke within a scene or a circumstance. But to start off and right away introduce a topic and make people laugh, I am in awe of stand-up comedians. But public speaking is a huge skill, huge.
They're all sort of intertwined anyhow, because even to be honest, even speaking in front of a camera, which brings me to my next question, actually.
Yes.
Just some people, they panic just with even talking to a camera. They have businesses and whatever, they prefer to like suffer and not make money than to come and promote their business. Real estate agents, a baker, whatever you are. So it's serious. So they're all linked. You need courage to just, be prepared to make a fool of yourself, basically.
150%.
Yes. So that brings me to my next question.
Yes.
As I said, with over 500 sketches and 200,000 followers across all platforms, you are a huge social media sensation, Nir.
Stop it.
For reals.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I have to take the compliment. Thank you.
Yes, take it. And to be honest, no other comedian makes me laugh this much while inspiring me at the same time. Like I mentioned to you before, I lost my sister last year, and I was like in a state of like major depression. And your stuff, like I would get on social media just so that I can watch your stuff. I have maybe 2 or 3 top, but you're like every day I would watch you. Even Michelle, she really did it for me as well. So thank you for that. You really cheered me up when I was extremely depressed. And what I love the most with you is that you portray nearly every human's viewpoint by playing your different characters. So my question to you is, how did so now you were an actor at this point, how did your storytelling and skits making journey begin? Here.
That's a good question. It began out of a breakup. And it also began out of frustration, I think, in the industry with lack of auditions and opportunities. So it was over 8 years ago. I was just out of a relationship that was a long-term relationship, loved the girl. It just didn't work out, and it was a hard breakup. And I was alone again in my apartment, and I was wanting to act, and I couldn't get very much momentum in the acting side in the industry. I was not getting auditions, and when I was, it was every like 3 to 4 to 6 months, and it was one line here, one line there. I was doing theater for 5 straight years. So like full-time work with going after work to do theater. But I was sitting on the couch just waiting for auditions. And one day around that time, I looked on my phone. I think it was like an iPhone. I'm going to go with iPhone 5 or 6 at that time. I don't know, 8 years ago. iPhone 5, iPhone 4, whatever it was. And one of the apps was that I started seeing and people were talking about was Vine. It was that 6-second app where people were just making random content for 6 seconds. And I looked at it and I saw these people making these sketches of 6 seconds that were hilarious. And I was like, well, they aren't all actors, but they're just putting out videos and sketches that are funny and being, our people are responding to them. And I saw these people, I think it was like maybe 8 or 10 people that I was following, that I saw their following exploding. And they became the first, I think in my belief is that they became the first social media influencers. It was this group of like, I think it was Logan Paul, Zach King, there was King Batch, Anwar, Lele Pons. There's this group of people that I kept seeing all over Vine making these amazing videos. And I was like, I'm an actor. I can do comedy. Let me try this. Plus, Vine allowed you to do quick little cuts, but I also didn't know how to edit. So I was like, oh, I have a laptop. I have iMovie. Maybe I'll take that and I'll make quick cuts and I'll put it together. And then I uploaded it to Vine. But I was also, funny enough, terrified of posting myself on social media because of the stigma in the industry. We, like in acting, theater in the beginning was huge. And theater actors look down at film actors, and film actors look down at TV and TV actors. And now TV actors is looked down at streaming. And now streaming is like the biggest thing. And now they're looking down at social media actors. And so you have this kind of balance. So I was, at the time, streaming wasn't as big, but it was still starting to come out. And I was wanting to be an actor, but social media was now starting and percolating as an opportunity. So I was like, I don't want to do this and then ruin my chances as an actor because they're going to say I'm not really acting and then I'm going to look like a fool. And so I didn't know what to do, but I thought I need to get on this. So what I started with, funny enough, was I had a Mickey Mouse doll at home. And I basically took the Mickey Mouse doll to work trips or to wherever I had in my apartment, in any space I had, and I started making random Mickey scenarios for 6 seconds where Mickey was getting ready for a date or Mickey was frustrated with something. And I was just putting Mickey in front of the camera and I was doing the, oh boy, how exciting. This is so great. And that was my voice behind the camera because I didn't want to be in front of the camera. So I did that for a couple of weeks and the videos got a little bit of like traction. And then after doing that, I was like, oh, I can't constantly just do Mickey. I'm running out of like things to do. I don't really know if it's relatable. So I decided to put myself in front of the camera for one quick video of me meditating and how the voice in my head when I meditate always goes to 7,000 things. And that was a 6-second video of me meditating and thinking like, oh, did I turn the oven off? Oh, who did I pay? Did they pay me back? And kind of like all the thoughts that go in your head. Posted that. Again, it did a little bit, not too bad. And then I used to do a lot of these comical voices and scenarios with, at the time, some of my friends and my ex with the French Canadian accent. So I made a first video. I think my first ever video on that was me as a French Canadian therapist, having the patient be me. And I asked the therapist, can you put in your 2 cents? Or do you want me to put in my 2 cents or something? And the therapist goes, Guayan puts in for 2 cents. That is And so I put that up and that started getting traction. And then Vine died and Instagram basically was starting their own video platform of 15 seconds. And so I moved all my videos to 15 seconds on Instagram and on Facebook. And I was more nervous now because more of my industry community was starting to see the videos. And I didn't know how they would respond. But again, it was like 30 views, 1, 2 likes. It wasn't really any huge traction. And then I was like, well, you know what? Actors, I think, can do a great job on this platform and really show what we can do. And so I started reaching out to fellow actors and friends that are in the acting world to do sketches. And so I started doing improv sketches for 15 seconds with Sean Curley and a girl named Ashley McCarthy at the time, and my ex as well. And we did these videos that was 15 seconds of different relatable stories. And I always wanted to put a little twist to it, not to be super like cliche, like everybody was doing these like very over sexualized videos on social media, or violent or whatever, or anything that is too edgy. I kept it very like PG, but I also kept it kind of in my head a twist on a relatable theme. Yeah. And so I started doing that, and I started inviting other actors, and it just kept going that way. And so I was doing almost everyday videos of 15 seconds for months. And then Instagram expanded to 30 seconds, and then to a minute, and then to 10 minutes. And so I started writing and doing a whole scenarios, and even did a short film. And I was doing mostly once a week on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, filming on the weekends, working 9 to 5 on the week during the week, and then editing in the evenings. And I was filming on weekends with other actors. And again, it was slowly growing. It wasn't doing much for visibility, but it was just like, it was keeping me engaged. It was keeping me creative. I was learning how to edit. I moved from iMovie to Final Cut. And then at one point, I ended up learning Premiere, which is a whole other story. But to wrap up the whole social media stuff was, so I about in 2019, I believe. I was still doing the Instagram 3-minute videos almost with other actors. And initially I was writing for the other actors. So I was writing for them to be the stars, and I was like the secondary character. And then at one point, a friend of mine was like, but you're not showcasing yourself, you're showcasing the others. So I flipped it after a couple of years. And then I did me as the kind of the star of the episode, and a secondary character was another actor. And then TikTok came out. Ooh. And people were like, you should go on TikTok. And I looked at it and I was like, I don't want to go on TikTok. It looks like Vine, but on crack. It's 15-second videos with people dancing and lip singing and some sketches. And at the time, the French Canadian character was only every couple of months, because I didn't want to be typecast as that character. Again, thinking about the industry, that they would peg me as this one-dimensional actor. And so I held off. But after thinking about it a couple of weeks and hearing more about this is the time to get on TikTok, I repurposed the video that I did on Instagram with the French Canadian therapist, and I put it on TikTok, and it got 200,000 views, and it got me to 20,000 followers within like 2 weeks. And I was like, oh crap, I have to keep doing this. And so all I did in it was around the beginning of 2019, I was putting pretty much my old videos of the therapist and putting them on TikTok, and it was getting traction. And eventually the pandemic hit. And I couldn't work with other actors anymore because of the pandemic. So I was like stuck at home with the French Canadian character and TikTok. And I was like, okay, what do I do? I can't just constantly just put the French Canadian character. So I was like, well, I'm stuck at home. I have Nir, the character that did other sketches before. And I started a couple of months before a Russian character who was basically rating TV shows. So he was looking at the camera and he was going, hello, I watched the show. It is weird. I give it 4 Kremlin out of 5. And I was like, well, I could do that. I could do this guy and I have this guy, and let's put them together in living through the pandemic. And then as I was doing that, I was also educating people on, just like even for myself, on the rules, because there were so many different rules happening. And every so often a video would pop on TikTok, and it would go kind of viral, and it would get to 300,000 views, 500,000 views. And then I would be called by a radio station. And that's how it all started. Just kept going. And then I was also doing the discrepancies between the characters. You have a Russian kind of immigrant from Latvia. You have a English character, Anglophone from Montreal, and you have a French Canadian character from Quebec. That's more French, and the other English side. So putting them all together, the language differences, the immigration issues, the Quebec issues, the Canadian issues. So I started playing around with all these different variety of stories, and some of them hit more than others. And this is where we are today.
Woo, Lord, oh my goodness. So
I told you this is gonna be a long one.
let me get this straight. So basically, all this was born out of your whole social media empire was born out of boredom, basically.
It was partially boredom, partially the desire to stay active and potentially get visibility. Because I was noticing that, you know, in an industry where you need to be seen, to especially in in the acting industry, you need to be seen to get noticed or to get opportunities, and you got to work either workshops or you put yourself out there. The more you put yourself out there, the more chances you are people will see you. And so for me, it was like, I can't get seen in auditions. I'm not getting any. I'm doing workshops, I'm doing theater, but I'm not getting any traction. And here comes Vine and all these social media platforms. And I'm seeing these regular people, not actors, gaining huge visibility. And I'm like, this should be acting. This should be actors. And I now believe that today, this is you have to have a presence on social media to gain visibility. It may not be every day, but you have to let your audience and build an audience and build a support to show your art.
Yes. Yes. Speaking of which, actually, I'd like to mention that, well, I've created a few skits myself, very few there because it takes so much time. But anyway, that's not my interview. And people don't realize how much work goes into one video. So I'd like to ask you to share 2 secrets with us, please. Number 1, how long does it take for you to create one video from start to finish? Like your average. I know it's not all the same. Second question will be, how do you come up with all this amazing content?
Okay, so first, the average, I would say, right now, I would say it's about 1.5 minute videos at most. So for 1.5 minute video on social media right now for the sketches, it takes me about an hour to 1.5 hours to film, about 1 hour to 2 hours to write, depending on inspiration. Sometimes it can be quicker, but most of the time it's about 1 hour to write a sketch, and about 2 hours to edit. So overall, I would say between 4 to 5 hours for one video.
Yeah.
And the second question was, how do I come up with all the ideas? Pretty much a lot of it in my sleep, like right before bed. For some reason, I'm laying down and I'm like, oh, that'd be funny. But it's usually like day-to-day stuff. Like I'll be walking with my neighbor for like a walk after work, and we'll talk about something, and then a word comes out where he says something that somebody said, and I'm like, oh, that's funny. Or I remember at work, I had a boss, a manager who was a sweetheart, one of the nicest people I've ever met, who had a bit of a French Canadian accent, and he would say things like development instead of development. I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. And I'd pick up on like these terms, and then I would make it into a sketch. Or you'd have regular, day-to-day stuff. So I walk outside and all of a sudden I see construction with a bunch of signs that make no sense. I'll film it. Or for example, in Vancouver, when I saw a bench on vacation that was facing the wrong way, which caused a huge uproar and was one of the most viral videos. I don't know why, but it was the most viral videos I've ever made, which was a 14 or 15-second video talking about why the bench is facing the street and not the water. And I used the Charlie, the French Canadian character, to just talk about it. And yeah, I ended up on the French radio in Vancouver. I ended up all over blogs, and I got lots of love and also a lot of anger by people from Vancouver over a bench. How about that?
Yeah. Wow.
It's hard. I think one of the things that I think people don't realize is the amount of work that goes into making these videos, and especially sketches. Like on a different tangent, when it comes to actually like working with brands or companies or local businesses to create content for them, there's such a wild west of like different types of people on the social media apps, that there is no standards. So it's hard to explain to people, hey, I do 5 hours of work, where somebody else basically takes your product and goes, oh my God, I love this. It's so tasty. It's amazing and great. And I think you should buy it. I had it last week. It was great. And you could talk for like 2 minutes, edit it in cuts. It takes you about maybe another hour to edit. So it takes you overall an hour to do, and you can charge nothing for it. Whereas for people that do sketches and writing and scripts, it's hard. It's a lot of work. You got to edit. You got to come up with the ideas. You use your talent and your acting abilities and your voice and your characters and your likeness and all of this stuff. And yet you get people going, well, that person's charging $100, and you're like, well, I'm sorry. So it's and the way that the rates began was, I think, through Instagram with people that took pictures. So online, if you search like, oh, if I have 100,000 followers, how much should I charge? It's like nothing, because people were taking pictures back then and posting them. So it's a challenge, but I think a lot of people don't realize the amount of work that goes into stuff like acting and sketches and creating, even people that make music. Any artist that is not doing just the talking, and I'm not taking anything away from people that talk, just like do get ready with me videos or review videos. It takes time for them to do as well, but it's also off the cuff. They don't write scripts, they don't memorize, they don't have to act. They're just doing it off of like sitting down and talking. So yeah, it's a long process.
Yes. And I'd just like to add some things that I feel you left out of your 5 hours. You have to prep for your roles. You have to did you count that in your filming time? Or
yes, yeah. So setting up, it used to be easier for me because I would just literally take off my cap, shake my hair and do it. Now I'm like making sure the hair looks okay, but I don't do makeup and stuff. But it takes pretty much, I think, 15 minutes to set up every character.
Okay.
And so overall, it could take about an hour to an hour and a half for the entire filming.
Yes. And then the last thing I'd add to that,
yes,
I'm like telling you about your process, because I broke down mine, and it's ridiculous. So the last thing is you have to post it. There's time that you need to allot just to post on all platforms, and you have to interact and respond to comments. So that's you're missing time here, Nir.
Full-time job. That is a full-time, like the posting is not as bad. It's getting better because they're now allowing you to schedule it at certain times. But yeah, you do have to post. You have to come up with a clever title. You have to sometimes create what's it called? A thumbnail. Then you have to post on all the 4 different apps or whatever it is. And then the responding is hard. Like there are times where, yes, I try as best I can to respond to every single comment I get. But when your video goes to 3 million views and you have 1,000 comments and you just keep seeing comments go, I'm like, I can't do that because it is insane. It's a long process. Yeah, I try it before bed or sometimes in the middle of the day to take about an hour of my time to just respond to all the comments that I can. I try to respond to every DM that I can. And some people will tell me that I'm insane for it, but I do believe that, you know what, you are who your audience allows you to become. I am nobody without an audience. As an actor, I can act in front of a camera all I want, but if nobody sees it and if nobody engages with it, then it's just me, myself, and I already have 2 other crazy characters in my head. So I need other people. And it's just, I owe a lot to people that have responded and engaged. And again, down to a random conversation we had before we started this, there have been times where I wanted to quit almost, and I can tell you, it's a numerous amounts. It's tons of times over the past 8 years. But every single time I was down or about to quit, I would get an email, a message, a DM. I'd walk down the street and somebody would stop me and be like, you kept me going during the pandemic. You made me feel like, better when I was down. That's what kept me going all this time. And then just having a sellout crowd and a standing ovation to me was like, wow, what I do has some impact, which I to me is insane. I make voices and I do random sketches about random things. To think that it has an impact, I would have never thought. And so I am very grateful for it.
Yes. Oh, that's so beautiful. You seem to have such a kind heart. And not many people, I know, because at one point when people, they make it to a certain point, they just disconnect, but clearly you care. Like even me, I've been like you're one of your number one fans, and you always it's just reacting, so there's no really real DM. But this one time I asked you a question, but how did you do this? You were putting your characters in the same frame. I was blown away because anyway, so I just asked you the question thinking this guy is never going to respond to me, he's too busy. But you took the whole time to so you're just the nicest man alive.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I think it's important to engage and communicate with each other and with everybody. And when you asked that question, I was like, I know a lot of people ask me about how did I do that? And it's not an easy process. It's not a green screen. It's literally as a secret, if you want, it's putting the camera in one spot and changing characters and making sure that you fit in a spot without interweaving each other, like not going over the other person's frame, and then using editing software, which is masking the section of where the person is. But today, like with CapCut and all these tools and apps, a lot of people are just doing this very quickly nowadays. It's crazy. But I believe in, when people engage with you, it's important to show that you're there to, to respond to them and that you're there to hear them out too, because they're giving their time. So I think it's best you could do is to honor their time as well and respond. So I try my best. If I didn't respond to you, I am so sorry. But there are a lot of messages, and there's also sometimes like spam messages. So I don't always look in the unfiltered, but
Anyway, I think it's beautiful. All right. So it's time to, I'd love to have a quick intro to Charlie and Oleg. I've been talking to Nir this whole time and I'd love to meet them. So where are they at?
Okay. Let me, you want to, just 5 minutes, not live, 2 minutes. What did you want? Holy moly. I was trying to watch a little bit of chef, chef table chef, making food, trying to learn a little bit how to make devil eggs. What can I do for you?
I just wanted to say hello to you.
Oh, hello. Very nice to see you and be here. I am impressed that you spoke this long to Nir. He talks a lot. Very ramble. I try to learn English and French. Sometime when I learn English, I ask him question, he go on tangent, and then, go on detour, try to be your Montreal audience. He go on detour left, detour right, then hit pothole, and then you never get to answer. But yes, I am very happy to be here. I used to play by myself a lot. And now I have 2 roommates who share time with me. So I am very privileged to live in this. But this is what you want me to say, right? You wrote it down in speech. I need to thank you for letting me live in your apartment. He doesn't always wear clothes. He put on this robe now. He's got this massive robe, look cool. So I took your pen. Who cares? Okay. Put it in the wash. Okay. But you want me to let Charlie speak? Okay, fine. See, no, there is no gratefulness for Oleg. They don't care. They tell me like puppet, come inside, speak word, and then leave. Okay.
Well, it was nice meeting you, Oleg.
Very nice to meet you. I want to say one thing. I wrote it down. Be the you that only you can be.
Oh, thank you, Oleg.
You're welcome. Okay, I come. Okay, let's calm down. Allô?
Allô?
Ça va bien?
Ça va super bien, toi?
Je vois rien, j'ai pas mes lunettes.
Ben là.
Ben là, je sais pas, j'ai pas trouvé. Il m'a poussé vite. Nir pushed me very fast, and I cannot see anything. But I told me to look straight up at the circle,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the circle, so I hope that you can see my face là. And very pleasure to be here. I like to give the pleasures to the people that are watch. And I hope that I can entertain everybody because most of the video that go viral là, that is moi.
Yes, and you're the therapist, so you have to listen and put up with with these two other guys.
Yes, I know. I took my therapist license in Abitibi-Témiscamingue. I got it in the university, and I have it on the walls, but they don't respect yet, so sometimes it is important. And Nir and Oleg have hard time meeting the women's. Là. Oleg is on the applications all the time. Nir sit on couch. Je sais pas pourquoi, là, he make these little dance, là. You think that that's going to get him date, là. But anyway, I tell him all the times, you have to get outside, find your happiness outside, inside of people's, and then you will meet them and you bring your happiness inside of them and they will bring the happiness inside of you. And that way you will connection together and develop, a good sense of relationship. He asked me where to go. I say, go to the speakeasy. C'est pas facile parler. It's not easy to speak in there. Là. But, the music is super loud. But at least there you will meet people and not sit on the couch and watch Oleg play with his iPad.
Yeah, that must really get long for you. You poor thing.
I know, right? I tells them, give me, vacation. Send me to Punta Cana.
Punta Cana, ouais.
Ouais, pourquoi pas? Sometimes get a mojito. Also, I like the Miami Vice.
Yes.
It Miami Vice?
Vice, yes.
C'est ça, là, the drink. Là. I also like to get tan, get the tan. Là. Even though I'm paler than Ghost, là, but en tout cas, I get the tan. And that is where I want to go. But I need to pay the bill. Là. Nir, he lost his job. Oleg cannot work because, he speaks no English, no French. And for me, there's not many people that need therapy from inside my household.
Yeah. So you're stuck paying all the bills, basically.
It is right now for me to do. I try to go outside, ask people for donation, and I give them free therapy. So I just yell at them. On the phone, là, I just go, you need help, Chris! And then I tell them $2. Okay.
Okay. Good for you. Oh, je suis vraiment content de te rencontrer, Charlie.
Ça me fait plaisir. I will go look for a new bench.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, je rappelle Nir. Okay, Nir, your turn, Dusty. Ben là, j'ai tout fait, là, j'ai parlé, very friendly, I did not swear, maybe a little bit. Okay, got it.
Ooh. Thank you for letting me know that. They're hilarious.
They're what keeps the bills apparently going.
Awesome. Oh, thank you so much for that.
No problem.
Okay.
It's my pleasure.
Yes. All right. You're a very busy man, as we discussed. And you're a TikTok sensation, a comedian, an actor, an editor, a producer, a marketing manager, and much, much more that we don't know about. So I'm assuming that you must get social media fatigue and deal with overwhelm at times. I'd like to know, how do you stay grounded and balanced? In other words, how do you keep your mental sanity?
That's a good question. I sleep for about 12 hours a day. There are times where, you do it so often and it's become a habit. Like I've done it for so long that sitting down doing nothing gets me kind of jittery and stressed out. I'm like, I need to do something. But there are times where you create so much content that eventually you just get fatigued and I kind of like get tired of the process sometimes, and I'm just like, I have no ideas. I'm blank. I don't think this is funny anymore. Moments where you're like, I've just given up, but this is not working. What does help sometimes is to just take a break. Like it's not the end of the world. I'm lucky enough, or unlucky, if you want to call it, to not have a crazy amount of followers that are every day telling me, hey, how come you didn't post today, and get mad at me for it, or businesses that are constantly asking me, or So I don't make my salary or my money through the social media. So it's not like it's do or die, but now it might be because I lost my job. I got laid off recently. So now I got to make some money. So if anybody has a job or wants to hire me for videos, it's my Kijiji ad, LinkedIn. But basically it's sometimes you just need a break. And I also think by being transparent, it also helps. So I will tell the audience and my audience sometimes, hey, I'm going on 2 weeks to do something, or I'm tired, or I'm sick and I need to take a break. It is a very challenging work. It's very challenging work, and it's a very challenging medium to do social media content on a regular basis. And the expectations on myself, because I'm a perfectionist, but the expectations from others, because I'm a people pleaser, is also hard. Because I'm always like, oh, I'm letting people down. Oh, I'm letting myself down. So it's challenging. I don't have a perfect remedy, but I do take some time when I feel like I'm at my threshold. I will take some time and be transparent about it and just say, hey, right now is not the right time to make content. I'm going to take a break. Or, hey, I'm going to be traveling to see family for a while, so I'll be taking a break. And sometimes even during that break, I'll post a little something because I get that energy. But that's when you know, when you are not able to, or not excited about trying to create that content or post it or post something, it's time to take a break. And then even during that break, you might all of a sudden be like, oh my God, this is a great idea. Let me post it. So that's kind of the process.
Okay. And do you have like an outlet? Like, I think you box sometimes. Is that one way that you get your energy out?
Yes. When things are really rough, I call my friend Steven Voice, who is an amazing musician, singer, songwriter, artist, actor, all that stuff. Great guy. Basically, I don't, who does this? I don't call him. Nobody calls anybody anymore. I send him a DM and I go, hey, Steven, I need to go punch something. And then he's like, I got you. And then we'll go to the gym and we'll do like pads and or the punching bag, and I'll just let out that way, or go to the gym, do that sometimes, or go for walks. I think the pandemic made me start to like or enjoy taking like mental health walks. Yes. So I go take some walks, but God damn it, it's cold in the winter, so not as many.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Awesome. Well, we have a lot of the same diversions because I do Muay Thai and I love to take my those walks. Just put a jacket on. I even put snow pants. I can do angels in the snow. So yeah, you gotta go.
I layer. I have like 18 layers on me. I have what's it called? The leggings, and then I put my pants over it. I'm very well covered. Just it's not pleasant when you got like snow in your face. Not as pleasant.
On est au Québec, sit. Hey, on se court puis on sort dehors.
That's it. You gotta get Charlie to go. Akila, it's about me.
Yeah, that's right. Wait, he'll go.
He'll go.
Yeah. Okay, so we're coming. I have just two more profound questions for you, and then I'll let you be. I'll let you go edit. I'm having too much fun here. I could keep you all night. So
I can talk all night. We know that.
Keep it together. Yes. So Nir, yes. What is your best advice to someone who feels like they have a dream, but they can't take the first step because they fear humiliation, embarrassment, or failure?
It's a good question. I hate to sound cliche about it, but Nike's Just Do It is a good start, but you don't have to start big. Like the beauty about social media today is you can do 10 seconds, you can do a minute, you can do 10 minutes. You just have to be able to just start somewhere. So if you can start, and if you have an interest that you're passionate about, it makes it even easier. Nowadays, everybody is a content creator. They pick up the phone and they say, hey, I like to paint hats. I've been doing this for 10 years. Here's how I do a hat, and here's how I started. If you have a passion for something or an interest in something or experience in something, start by just spending even 10 seconds on the phone, on your phone, stare at the damn little camera and just say something and post it and see what happens. And the more you do it, little by little, you're going to start developing a little bit of comfort. It's not, honestly, I'm still uncomfortable talking to a little dot. It's not comforting for somebody in this generation. I didn't grow up with a camera in my face. It's not an easy thing to do. So it's going to be hard at first. It's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel strange, but the more you do it, the more it's going to get easier and the more comfortable you'll be in front of the camera. So today, there are no more excuses. There's no, I need better lighting. I need lighting equipment. I need voice sound equipment. I need to be an actor. You can just be yourself, say a few words, start. You don't even have to record and put it live. You could record it and put it private. Take a look at it, send it to some of your friends or family that you know and trust and get their feedback from it. And I think those are maybe the where to start. But if you have a passion for something, or even just like to, you know, voice your opinion on somebody else's work, be respectful. But basically, that's another option. You can look at some videos and be like, duet them or whatever, stitch or whatever we call it in different apps, and you basically just respond to what you see. If you like movies, if you like TV shows, talk about it. If you're not comfortable in front of the camera, just put it in front of you, start. I think we've all FaceTimed family and friends nowadays since the pandemic. It's the exact same thing, just recorded and then put out publicly. If you're afraid of what people will think, I have to just say, don't be. It lasts 15 seconds, literally, and they're on to the next thing. So just start. And you might discover that you might have a passion for educating people on some topic, and you'll fall in love with it and you'll get a reaction, and all of a sudden that reaction is going to lead you to want to do something different within that same conversation. And I think that's what tends to happen is you post something and somebody engages with it and says, I love this, can you tell me more? And that leads you down a whole new world of stuff. If you're a small business or a business, get on it, and get on educating, don't sell. Get on educating people with your content. Use content creators or use your own spokesperson make it personal and vulnerable and talk about your process. Talk about like good examples if you want for small businesses. It'll be $200 per hour for me. But if you like for small business, great examples of companies that are doing really well with social media are Midday Squares from Montreal. And I think they're called Man-Made as well. They're talking about their process, their journey, and they're talking about the downs and the ups and the failures. So be vulnerable, just talk about what you know and start somewhere. Our phones are, I don't think you can see it, but our phones are extremely powerful and connected to everything. So use the camera, look out the window, put it in front of you, get decent daylight lighting, and then just say something and start, even if it's 10 seconds.
Ooh. Like I just got it preaching.
Hire me. Hire me as a consultant. I'll do it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you definitely know what you're doing. So absolutely, yes. Wow. Whew, that was so good. So you're so full of wisdom.
So much wisdom. Sometimes don't use my own wisdom.
For yourself,
should have, I can't take it.
Okay. So let me ask you this. What is the next step for Nir Guzinski, please?
Now that I'm unemployed, I love that. I worked for 15 years at a company. So now that I'm unemployed, it feels weird, but it also feels extremely exciting. So for me, I will continue to create content as much as I can, as much as I have that passion and excitement for it and ideas. So I hope people continue to watch and engage. Two, I want to create something that will help people and also show my skills and talents. So something in a creative space that will be able to help either content creators or regular people. I always want to give back down the road with what I earn or what I can do. So I hope that whatever it is that I come up with or work with somebody to come up with will be something that will help us and help the community grow and help them in any way. And I also want to act. I still want to be in a TV show, in voice, commercials, in animation, in video games, in films. I would love to be in a Pixar movie. I would love to be in a sitcom. So hopefully I continue down this path and make it a career in acting and in content creation. And right now in the immediate future, it's trying to find a new revenue stream to pay for my lost income. So if anybody needs any work, content creation, editing, I'm just going to pitch myself here as a business. So yeah, that's totally where I'd like to be. I would love to be able to be self-sufficient and have my own kind of either content business or creation in creative business that helps the community, but also is my career that keeps giving me the ability to entertain as well as to help. Though that would be my hope.
Yes. Ooh, sending you a lot of vibes, and whoever needs to see this video,
please
help Nir out. And Charlie and Oleg, he has a whole crew.
Yes, a whole group of them. We are all full of wisdom. Maybe not Oleg, but everybody.
Definitely Charlie.
Full of wisdom.
So finally, if someone would like to start following you, what is the best way?
Everywhere. You can follow me on Instagram. Just put my name. I'm pretty much the only one with Nir Guzinski. TikTok, YouTube, Facebook still. You can find me on a website, which is www.nirguzinski.com. You can find out what I do, what I've done, and how to hire me. I also, if you want, I don't know if this is going to air before Valentine's Day, but if it is, then I also do videos for people, like one of the characters can do a Valentine's Day video for somebody you care about. So yeah, so I do all those things. You can find me on that, and maybe on TV soon, hopefully more often.
Yes. Awesome. Oh God, I had such a good time. Let me wrap it up. Pardon?
Me too. This was great. This is a lot of information and a lot of good what's it called, nostalgic memories that were brought back from all the work.
No, you just you're full of it. You're full of it. No, not shit. Anything but shit. But let me just summarize a little bit, wrap it up, share my main takeaways. As the mama would say, Nir's mama, everything happens for a reason. That's a good one. Work hard and be prepared. I love that. Mimic your heart rate when you rehearse. And doing things, multitasking while you're rehearsing will also help you. You are who your audience allows you to become. Be the you that only you can be. Thank you, Oleg. And find happiness inside, not outside. There was more to it, but I summarized it. Is that essentially it?
Yeah, you got to find it within you.
Oh, find it within you. Merci, Charlie.
Thank you.
Yeah. And just do it. You don't have to start big. Start somewhere. Find an interest, a passion, some experience. Spend 10 seconds on your phone. Say something and keep doing it. Whatever you do, be yourself. And yeah, record, keep it private, get feedback. If you don't want to do your own thing, comment on another video. Just start somewhere. And if you're a business owner, get on it. Hire his services. He has a lot to offer. Just look at his content. And yeah, that's that was really what it did. So there was so much. I could have written much more, but I wanted to pay attention to you. So
no, that was great. That was a good summary. It was like you caught all that. I thought you were writing something, but now I know what you were writing.
Yes. I mean, I have a good memory, but I didn't want to have to rely on that.
Oh no, I spoke a lot, so I totally get the writing it down. But that was great. You really summed that up perfectly.
Awesome. And do you have any parting words or story you'd like to share with us before we go?
Make sure that when you build a bench, it's not towards the highway and more towards a nice scenery. And please take me back, Vancouver, if ever I come back. Don't ban me. No, my parting words, I would just say, being somebody that worked for 15 years now in the corporate world as well, a 9-to-5 job, do what you love and hope. I really do hope. I can't guarantee it, and I wish I could, but I hope that what you do and what your passion is actually allows you to enjoy your life and not worry and stress financially,
Mm.
because that's what I hope for. I can't guarantee it. I wish I could. But maybe in a couple of years, I'll be like, yes, follow your dreams and eventually it will happen and everything's great. But yeah, I do believe that if you love the 9 to 5, if you love a certain industry, do it. But follow your heart. Don't settle for just the financial rewards. Do something with passion that makes you happy. And it will resonate with people, even though you may think that it won't. There's one person out there that may be affected by it in a positive way, which changes the entire game. One thing that I think also, just to wrap it up, that I keep having to remind myself, but you look at views on social media and you're like, oh, this video got 1 million, this video got 30, this million got 100. And when you pass a certain threshold, when you're used to getting like 50,000, 100,000 views, and all of a sudden you're at 300, 1,000, it feels like you are, my videos suck, everything sucks. But if you think about it, we sold out 150 seat auditorium. And when you're standing there in front of 150 people, it is insane that 150 people actually care about you and like you and enjoy what you do. And so even if 150 people view online your work, that's huge. Even one person to view your stuff and engage with it is enormous. If you can impact one person, that's all you can do.
Oh, that was I had such a good time. Thank you so much, Nir.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast.
It was.
And I like the clock in the background there.
Oh, yes.
Very cool.
From Zone, Magasin Zone à Montréal.
Like, I got a gift card from a friend like years ago for Zone, and I forgot to go, and it's still sitting on my.
Yeah, go get that clock, Nir.
Get it right next time.
Just do it. Go get it.
Done.
So,
I'll see you later.
So thank you so much, dear friend at home. I hope that you are as inspired as I am by Nir. And I'll leave you with this. The power of your voice can change the world. Find it and use it. See you in the next video.
Bye. Oh, last coffee. There we go.